I mean, the Queen's Gambit decline is not a trendy opening, you know, and we see a lot of it here. Yeah, it's really ridiculous. I mean, guys, come on. But I'm gonna start playing e4 more and maybe really different stuff. You know, I've got to mix up my first move more because, yeah, we're definitely getting stale, getting too many of these things. At least play the Slav, guys. Bishop f4 is popular. I know, man. It's been popular for a long time, but Bishop f4 is probably better than Bishop g5. But that's why I don't play it, you know. I'm anti-trend opening, anti-trend in the opening. So here it would be possible to let him take on f4, I think. But my structure is pretty well shot. But DST plays very solidly. Let's see if we can get anything at all in this position. It doesn't look like it. This is just dead equal. I don't want to take on d5, and I don't want to give up my bishop. So I'm playing this move. This is like 0.1 advantage to white, probably. The last Slav turned into a Queen's Gambit decline. I've been getting backdoored into well, I've been getting backdoored into semi-Slavs sometimes. Sometimes they're pretending they're going to play the Queen's Gambit decline, and I'm getting backdoored into the semi-Slav, which escapes my Queen c2 against the Slav. Now f4, interesting move, very aggressive. And here, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll play f5. I said I'm you know, like one of those guys who tells you games and like the board's backwards. Don't you hate that when you're playing in a tournament and the guy comes up to you and like, oh yeah, d4 and you know, and they tell you the whole game like on the opposite coordinates of where the board is, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, So I'm saying like f4 for black. Just what I hate when people do that. I hate when people come up to you in a tournament and they expect that you can understand, like, just totally random, you know what I mean? Like, you're standing there at a tournament or whatever, and the random guy comes up to you and you're like, and they're like, yeah, I had a bishop on g5, and yeah, his knight was on c3, and the pawn was on a4, and you know what I mean? Like, nobody understands what you're talking about. Even if I'm like Kasparov, you know, I don't know where all the other pieces are, so it's impossible to have a clue. I hate when that happens. Okay, knight e4, and we're trying to get something here, but we really don't have much. c5 is tempting. c5 going for the very small kind of like space advantage approach. Will Walsh Revenge, you seem like you're kind of adrenaline junkie. You play fast. You play the Smith Mora, and there's not enough action in the Queen's Gambit declined. But wait, did you play the Queen's Gambit declined yourself? No, I'm thinking. This position is getting more and more like really closed up. I think my plan was to take and play a4, but I don't know what that does. That doesn't seem like a good idea for me. A4, A5, A6 type of stuff's interesting. But he's going to take on C5. I think I need to be a little more circumspect here. DST, are you thinking of attacking me on the king side with like G5 or something? Yesterday I had a student who plays the Dutch Stonewall, and we were going over some of his games. Man, it's like, it's just so hard to play that kind of opening. I couldn't do it, you know, honestly. I just couldn't do it. I mean, it's every game is like this massive slog fest, you know, through a morass of closed positions, and it's just so tough, you know. I just couldn't do it constantly, playing again and again this kind of really locked position. Really tough. And playing white in the stone wall as well. I mean, I've been there many times, and I have pretty good results. Have lost a few times now and then, but I have, you know, it's really always a struggle. There's always like a 70 move game where you're breaking through at like A6, like on move 65, like Petrosian, and it's just not easy. It's just never easy. Like this kind of position, basically, guys. We can get this kind of position. Look at this position, where I'm going to have to sack a piece on his pawn chain to create like two connected passed pawns, like in the King's Indian or something. I don't know. Is it best to do this? Jeez, I guess we can try it. Kind of a classic Stonewall sort of like winning attempt for white. By the way, it happens in the King's Indian too. I mean, I don't know if you guys know like the main lines of the Mar del Plata King's Indian or whatever, but pretty standard. I'm probably going to need some support from my king at some point. So this is an interesting position. I have compensation for the piece, we'll say. I have good compensation for the piece here. Pretty difficult for black on a practical level to play this kind of position. B6 check. I don't want to give him the square. I'm not sure if I'm winning here, but I'm sure as heck, you know, better. Objectively, it's a pretty torturous situation. You know, I don't really want to play the Stonewall personally. How do I make progress here, though? How can I win? Probably trying for another, you know, trying for the creation of another weakness on the other side of the board. And DST got kind of desperate, but we should have a winning position here. It's a really difficult situation for black on a practical level. I guess I'll have to play h5. I can just take. This is good enough. So guys, yeah, this is the problem, man. It's so tough. The games are so long in these kind of structures. And that's why I hate playing against the Stonewall. Who's your favorite poker player of all time? Who is my favorite poker player of all time? To think about it. GM Willwolf, we'll try to get to you if there's a kind of lull in the challenges. I'll play a rematch. Let's play something different, guys. Been playing knight f3 d4 every game, and I really want to get. I'm gonna start playing the English more and some flank stuff and some e4. Because everything's basically transposing to queen pawn games, and I like to mix it up a little bit. Favorite poker player, jeez. It's not like chess, you know. Even chess, I can't answer that question, but poker is even more difficult. So, from like the modern poker players, I like Elke, and he does a stream on Twitch. I like his poker stream. If you guys want to check out a poker stream, I like Elke a lot. I like the way Elke plays, and I have kind of similar, like, stylistically. Obviously, I'm not near as good as Elke, but I like the way that he plays. He's very systematic and good player. C takes D. But I would recommend you check out his stream on Twitch. I haven't watched him in a while, but I was sometimes. Knight c3, castles, and queen b3. Let's try this. It's like English / Grunfeld, but anti-Grunfeld because there's no exchange of knights on c3. Black can exchange on c3 there, but this move tries to keep the space advantage. Sometimes difficult for black, like to defend the pawn on c5 in these kind of positions. Stewie Younger, yeah, legendary poker player before my time, obviously. Knight c7, but actually I started playing poker when I was a little kid. I started playing poker probably around, like, it sounds crazy, but before I started playing chess. I was playing poker like probably 1984. Just like with friends and for dimes and quarters and stuff like that. Knight c6. Yeah, so my queen starts running into problems, and I've got to watch out that he doesn't get this kind of Botvinnik type of center, and I don't have a lot of compensation for it. So I don't know about this. I'm a little bit worried. Scheveningen's up to 2247. This is classical. Scheveningen, I didn't know you were from Poland. I never actually noticed. I'm not sure if that was in your profile before. I call you Scheveningen now, but you're actually Scheveningen. But it's so much easier just to call you by the... Elke is a StarCraft Brood War legend. Yeah, I don't really watch cash players, so I don't know that. I don't know Tom Dwan that well. I don't really play cash just every Friday night with my home game, but and occasionally, like I played in Prague a little bit of cash. The stacks were really deep. It was pretty tough. So you know, I sit down at the table like to play 3-6 and basically like 3-6 and check grounds, and you know, everyone's got like 1,000 big blinds. It's really like kind of insane. I'm just not used to playing cash with really good players. So yeah, Elke I like a lot. Yeah, I know, and that's what I think why I like him, because as a StarCraft player, as a gamer, he's a very strategic player, and I think there's some similarity there. You know, something I can really identify with in the way he thinks and the way he plays. So Bishop e3, putting pressure on c5. Now black has to watch the long diagonal, but he can play Bishop d4 or Knight e6 at the very least. Yeah, I like Dead Mouse too. That's the other reason. I'm not that into electronic music, but I have to confess that I'm a big Dead Mouse fan. So the other reason I have to really like Elke, yeah, he's the biggest Dead Mouse fan in the world. So I would definitely recommend you support his stream, and I've been known to hang out there. C takes d4, Knight e4, I guess. Oh, anyway, I challenge you. You refuse because I'm a bad player. What? Warenfeld, what are you talking about? I'm always like getting to you, dude. But I didn't refuse. I just couldn't get to you yet. You were next in line. So if you want to re-challenge me, Warenfeld, you were next in line to play. I just lost your challenge there. So Knight e4. Your challenge was there a minute ago. I don't know where it went. I guess you got depressed because I didn't accept your challenge, but it's impossible for me to tell unless I'm constantly watching the challenges, because they don't stay open. I have to hover the mouse over the challenges, and I can't really tell like who challenged first. Maybe they'll add that feature to Lichess. I would recommend somebody send a suggestion, or I can do it myself, to Thibault, or like one of the administrators who's, you know, like monitoring like ideas for suggestions, to try to make it possible to be able to tell who challenged you, like in order of when they challenged you. Wesley So will be on Lichess on Wednesday, said the Saddest Troll. Yeah, that sounds interesting. So is such a new young player. I don't know that much about him. I've been so inactive in chess, relatively speaking, until lately, that I of course know I've seen some of So's games. I mean, he's a great player and he plays like really well, positional chess. I like his style from what I've